I want to get a couple of things out of the way first. I am not anti-technology. So sometimes there's a thing or something going on or a rumor on some social site, oh, don't let him come talk to your parents because he's going to take away your Xbox. No. I use technology. I'm all about it. And the fact that even during the confinement we were able to use technology to connect is stellar. However, I teach healthy device management and the practice of good digital citizenship, which we'll talk about. All right, so here's the topics. Number one, digital natives versus digital immigrants. Digital native it's one of the people on this planet who doesn't know a world without the kind of technology we have today. They have no concept of how we even survived without it, or an iPhone or whatever. It's not their world. That's a digital native. A digital immigrant is me. It's a lot of you in this room. A digital immigrant, this is not our world. Computers, technology, all of this stuff came in sometime when we were maybe in middle school or a little older, but that's a digital immigrant. So now that we understand what that is, it'll become important later. Digital immigrants, me, digital natives, my kids, and that's important as we move through the presentation that you will probably see halfway through. Absent presence versus present presence. This is one of my big concepts, and this is a lot of the research I do. So it's a little tougher. So I'm going to stay on, I'm not going to do that yet because I really want to explain this because I think it's vital, and the difference between absent presence and present presence, you may have an idea, but I don't want to go into it yet because I talk about it later. Healthy device management, we know that. Practicing responsible device use. So these are the topics. There's no exam, but this is the big things we're going to talk about today. All right, and then of course, good digital citizenship, and we'll talk about that. Here's the question: do you contemplate the affect or effect your posts have when posting them? Do you edit your posts? What is your real motive, goal, or need for posting, sharing, liking, following, and or friending, or not? So this is obviously about social media. So here's my thing around this. My friends know what's going on in my life. My close friends, my covalent bonds. They know what's going on with me. I tell them. I know what's going on with them. They know I'm here tonight. They're not here tonight. I'll remember that. My friends know what's up with me. So if we're going to post anything online or on social media, my question is, and I'm not trying to shame, we all do it, but my question is, what is our real reason for engaging? If my friends know what's going on with me, then why do I want to put it out there for the world and the outer space? Why do I need them to know? I also want to remind you that we're so busy, many of us, maybe not you, I'm guilty of this, watching, cultivating, how many likes, how many positives, and our self-esteem and all of this is all tied to these people we don't even really know IRL in real life, and we are so busy trying to see what their reaction is, and it can really change our mood. We forget about the people who are sitting out there, and I'm sure no one in this room has ever done it. I have. I see some posts of people, and I go, oh. And I make decisions about them. So I want you to remember, when you contemplate, when you're posting, responding, or doing anything online, especially in social, people are watching and seeing, and they might not even respond. And so you want to be really careful because your social media is your storefront. It's your brand. So there's also, when we restrict, it's called restricting our responses. We see something and we look who else responded. It's a whole game. The kids do it so well. So I ask, if you're going to engage online, what are you really thinking about? I'm going to suggest to you that if it's a good idea to post today, probably a good idea to post tomorrow. And I'm going to suggest to you, when you're hungry, angry, lonely, tired, angry, upset, please stay off your social media because the trolls will come for you. These are just some things that are during the pandemic that says, are you surprised that even during the pandemic? And it's also, it's estimated we know this is true, that during the self-confinement, these things that even were prevalent and happening before just went exponential. So, all right. This is a lot, so I'm not quite sure. Most mobile phone users check their devices up to 63 times a day. American Youth Common Sense Media claims that children up to age 8 spend 7.5 hours a day engaged with media. Adults, 10 hours, 39 minutes. Most of this time is spent multitasking. And there's a lot of research about multitasking. It used to be believed that multitasking was fine. No. Maybe if you're multitasking and doing the laundry while you're listening to, hot hits of the 90s. But in terms of multitasking with devices, all the evidence is coming back, no. And I'm so sorry, this is where the kids start to say, I knew it. If your kid says, no, these 9 screens I have open, it's fine. I can do my homework and be watching Netflix and listening to Spotify and also be DMing my friends and I'm on Snapchat. No. It's just showing because our brains now are being saturated and inundated with all of this screen-based stuff. Our brains are plastic. We will adapt. We will adapt, and maybe in the future we will be able to multitask and look at and keep track of 17 different things. But right now, this generation, these digital natives, were the first generation that's their brains were ambushed by all of this screen stuff coming at them, and it's difficult for them to process it. So yes, maybe listening to music while you're doing your homework is okay. But having 7 screens open when you're trying to focus on anything is being demonstrated over and over again in the research that no, our brains right now are not able to process that. Okay, so heavy media multitaskers demonstrate poor memories, increased impulsivity, higher social anxiety and depression. This is all about multitasking. Baby boomers, Gen Xers, the digital immigrants, 5 hours using their phones. And I just put this in because it came out last night, 40% of parents in the U.S. admit they give their kids their devices so they can have some peace and quiet. During the pandemic, I got a lot of calls from parents saying, Don, you're going to not agree with this, but is it terrible? I'm just giving the kid the iPad. And I said, we're all just trying to get through this. Just do what you can and we'll look at it later. But right now, just everyone's just trying to get through. Now we're on the other side of it. So a lot of the work that I've been doing in the last about year is helping us to detach from the devices that we, thank goodness we had them, but we became a little maybe over-reliant. All right, did you also know, and I'm going to try to get through these so we can get to the good stuff, so I can't even read this myself. 61% of Americans admit to being addicted to the internet or their phone devices. I have addicted in quotes. Every country in the world except for the United States has identified people who could be addicted. Addicted to technology is something globally. The World Health Organization in 2017 and then 2019 again announced it. We're a little slow in America, so I have to, for the purposes of being authentic and having integrity of the PowerPoints until we change it, that if someone says that they're addicted, it's not a thing yet, even though it fits all the criteria. I got to be, I'm very fortunate, I got to be a part of a team that really looked at this to try to get it into the Diagnostic Statistical Manual, which is the American Psychiatric Association's version of our Bible for diagnoses. All the diagnoses are in there, and it changes. We're on number 5 now in 100 years something. But we got into something called, we did online gaming disorder in conditions for further study of the current one. We didn't make it all the way. We're hoping it will make it. But right now, I can't say, you can say whatever you want, I can't say in a public presentation, addiction, so that's why that's in quotes, but you should know that as well. We know it fits all the marks, but we're not there yet. All right, 26% of Americans admit to being almost constantly on the internet in 2018. This was pre-pandemic compared to 21% in 2015. So 50% of people still report feeling anxious. That's why thank you for coming out. This thing is called cave syndrome, and people are afraid, and we become so reliant, we don't have to leave our houses. So 50% of people still report feeling anxious about in-person interactions. 50% of people prefer to communicate digitally. 67% of smartphone owners admit to checking their devices even when it's not ringing or vibrating. I'm going to talk about that later. It's called phantom vibration syndrome. And it's a real weird phenomenon. I've experienced it many times. All right, so I'm just, a third of people would rather clean their toilets in their inbox. I don't know about y'all, but the tsunami of emails about emails with threads of emails, my people who work with me, work for me, work around me, they know I'm just going to pick up the phone and call the ship. If an email thread is going, I just want the answers. Because especially during confinement, and a lot of us were working from home and working with remote teams, we just started emailing each other. Now, my daughter says that she was just doing it because she wanted her boss to think she was working. She was watching Real Housewives. It was fine. We're not going to go into that. But she was emailing and just sending emails because boundaries have also gone crazy. So people are emailing at all times of day or night, not during office hours. Now, just about every email platform has a little box you can check that you can write in. Yep, Happy Valley knows. You can write an email if you choose to at 3 o'clock in the morning, and you can delay it being sent to office hours. Please do that. Because if you send it out to everyone, chances are someone who is about to go to sleep is going to check their email and then, oh my gosh, I got to respond because my boss or my friend or my colleague emailed me, and they're going to try to check it, and then they're going to be on for 3 hours going through all the rest of their emails. So just please try to respect the boundaries. It kind of got a little sloppy, and that emails allow us to just kind of do things all day and all night. Respecting our work boundaries with these devices and our health boundaries is super important, and that's just one of them, the emails. All right. 80% of people admit checking their phone is the last thing they do before they go to sleep. The same amount say it's the first thing they do in the morning. And you can judge me, and you can call me anything you want. Personally, I have a problem with this because it used to be it was the person you cared about the most. You would say to them, good night, good morning. And now we're checking our phones and our social media. And that just is weird to me. It's just, I'm really about human connection. And I feel like technology kind of gets in the way of that. 53% of people wake up in the middle of the night to check their phone. I don't know what's going to be happening, and these numbers we're expecting are lower because people aren't really telling the truth all the time. Teens who use devices 3 hours a day are 35 more prone to suicidal ideation. This is just something I want to go through. If you're in this room, you're a parent. And I'm just going to let you read that. Because if you're a parent and you're here, then my respect, because you're here, so you care. And this is also real. And this is from 2021. We are very, very nervous about what COVID did to maybe make these numbers even worse. All right, so I have to put this in because you're parents and we need to know. And I hope that no one in this room has this issue. But I work with kids and I work with mental health, and it's real, and that's why I do what I do. All right, now I'm just going to go through this. I want you to know, now this may sound familiar to you. They knew. The people who designed this knew. Bill Gates said minimum age. Smartphone's 14. Steve Jobs didn't let his kids have an iPad. His company invented them. Tim Cook doesn't have kids. He said, I got a nephew. I don't want him on that. I don't want him on it. Ned Siegel, CFO of Twitter, sent less than 2 tweets a month for the past 12 years. So they knew. And if you've seen some of this in the news, the whistleblowers like Chamath and Leah Pearlman. Leah Pearlman and Justin Rosenstein invented that like button. And Leah says, she was like, I feel like Oppenheimer. Now, I don't know if you compare the like button to the guy who, atomic bombs, but that's what she felt. And she said it was the worst thing I ever did. The like button changed everything, because the like button was the mothership of followers and fellowships and share, all of this. So they knew. And the bottom one, at the Waldorf School of the Peninsula, it's in Silicon Valley. It's where a lot of the scions and the maestros and the masters of Silicon Valley, it's where their kids go. That's the school a lot of them go to. 79%, 75% of the kids are Silicon Valley executive kids. School doesn't allow any screen use till the kids are about 14 and does not allow them in the classroom. They knew. This was, I think you know where this is going. And the little asterisks there are because we're waiting for the data. It takes a few years to get it really back, and we don't even know during the pandemic. Again, we know, thank goodness we had it, but this is the time spent on mobile devices. All right, this is for the parents. So, you can just look at these titles. A majority of parents are concerned. All of this can be discovered, and this is good. We call it Google it. So, the majority of parents are concerned their child might ever spend too much time. So this is some graphs. This is super current. Howard, I don't know if this was in the other ones that you saw a few weeks ago. So this is current. This is just graphs. And then you can read the headlines of this. Because I get these questions all the time. So I need to make sure that I've got as close to good data as I can get on this. All right? Moving on. All right. So I had this, I wrote an article a few years ago. And I was looking at devices. And I was thinking, And I have no problem telling you this and disclosing this, and even if I did, like I talk about, if you have a digital footprint, meaning you're anywhere on the internet, you're discoverable. Forever. I tell the kids, I say, I work with, I say, you have an opportunity here because from the moment you first put your first stroke and you create your first stuff online, this is your legacy. It's your autobiography. It's forever. So I talk to them about what their brand is. I say it's kind of like your storefront, but I said you want to be really mindful of that every single thing we put online is now archived, even if it's deleted. Someone might have screenshot it, someone might have shared it. So you have to assume that every single thing you do, from the time you start, it's going to be your autobiography that is going to go on forever. And this is very possibly being beamed out to space. It is. I kind of half-wittingly joke, and I hope I don't offend anyone. They're not here in the room. If there is alien life, and the Kardashians series is being beamed out there, they're going to avoid our planet. They're going to be like, you know what? No, sorry, and congratulations to the one who got married. But everything we're doing is being beamed out, but everything is forever. Our great-grandchildren will be able to look us up. Now, I'm not going to lie, this is for the kids. I would love to have had my parents' Snapchat when they were 15. It would have proved super helpful. But your kids are going to see your Insta and your Snap and your TikTok and all that. So I know I'm not trying to scare you, but I would love to see it. But every single thing that we do is forever, ever, 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 ever digitally imprinted and there and discoverable. Even if it's deleted, it's somewhere on a server. So I was thinking about this, and I have no problem because mine is pretty, you Google Dr. Don Grant and stuff comes up that I'm like, I don't remember that. Who did that? People do stuff. But I'm in recovery myself almost 21 years. And again, I'm very open with it, but if I wasn't, you could find it out. So I started thinking about the difference between addicts and substances and devices. And so I wrote this article that I just thought was for fun, but then got some traction. And so I just want to share with you. And I just want to ask you, and I want you to consider this. So addicts keep their I want to get this right, even though I wrote it. Addicts keep their drug close, usually on their person or in a carry bag. Addicts prefer to be alone with their drug, perseverate, meaning they think about it all the time on it, and can't wait to be with it, even when engaged in other activities. Although fully aware of its placement, an addict will compulsively pat their pockets, check their bags to ensure their drug's location and security. If misplaced, their anxiety escalates until their drug is successfully recovered. If accidentally left behind, the addict will return to retrieve their drug, even at the risk of being late. Without it, a sense of displacement and loss pervades. Ensuring their drug remains perpetually accessible is priority number one, even when eating, sleeping, whatever, or using the bathroom. Addicts lie about their use of the drug, especially if challenged. Addicts overextend finances in favor of maintaining and improving their user experiences. Relationships, responsibilities, academics, careers, families, and social events become secondary to their drug use. Dopamine score comes with each using, even the anticipation of using. Attempts to control or cut back prove unsuccessful. Lack of ability to use generates restlessness, irritability, and discontent. Addicts attempt to sneak their use against better judgment or pleas from others. Please stop it. When their stash for devices, this is where the battery life or connectability begins to run low, anxiety accelerates, conservation becomes priority until a dealer, in the device's case, electric plug, charger, cell tower, can be secured. Stress is then relieved. Overuse or misuse is often followed by guilt, shame, decreased self-esteem, blah, 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 and a hashtag four-wheel promise to not fall so time. The next time you use, that attempt invariably fails. Now, I don't know, but when I compare the way a drug addict treats their drug and the way people treat their phones and their use, I went, why does that sound familiar? This is part of why we're trying at least to get more education about it, to get America and the American Psychiatric Association and APA that I'm involved in, the American Psychological Association, to really, really get behind this and say, you know what, this is like addiction when someone is really in it. So I just want to share that with you, and it was just an article I wrote that, I wanted to get a look at. All right. Jean Twenge, she is one of my heroes. She is a brilliant researcher. She is an early adopter of this work. So she has done some really great long-term studies, and she believes this. So I get asked all the time, what was the inflection point? When did this all happen? How did this happen so fast? This is my theory. And I can't prove it, but it's what I believe. I believe that the event horizon was passed, that the inflection point happened when we became so attached. I think it was in 2008 when the iPhone came out, because suddenly the internet was portable. I believe the portability of the internet is what changed everything, and I'll tell you in full disclosure, I wasn't in this field, I wasn't doing this, but I told you something about my daughter, and in 2008, my little princess, and both of them had me wrapped, and they're great kids, asked me for this thing called an iPhone. Now, I bought her all kinds of things along the way, but I got her an iPhone, and something happened that was very disturbing. We now know it was a very subtle form of cyberbullying. What happened was that all her friends had gone out, and that's when the kids were back on Facebook because MySpace had died, and the kids were on Facebook because it was so exciting and new. They all went off at once we went on it, and that's Instagram and Snap and whatever, TikTok. But my daughter wanted this thing, and she was left out of a picture. Her friends had all told her they were busy on one day, and they all went to the beach. And they posted a picture on Facebook, BFFs forever, and my daughter was left out of it. That's how I started this work. Because suddenly I realized that, you were talking about being a good dad, I realized I just handed her a potential weapon. You wouldn't give a kid a set of power tools and say, oh, just have at it. I didn't understand this thing. And then I realized it hurt her. I just started this in 2008, all of this work, because I was trying to be a good dad and understand this thing that had bothered my child, and now here I am talking in front of you people all these years later. But I believe that it's when the internet went portable that everything changed. That's my opinion. These are some negative, and this was, again, pre-confinement. These were things we had identified were already side effects, potentially. Potentially just is a research, a PhD term for, yeah, we believe it, just we have to write potentially because we haven't proved it, just so you know. So these were all the things, right? Before COVID. All right. So I spent the 2 years of COVID talking to kids, doing Zoom presentations, doing a lot of teaching and educating, and what you're about to see are the things that I noticed and identified as, on top of all of that, what the kids experienced in COVID. Physical, emotional, substance abuse addiction, isolation, grief and loss, abuse, anhedonia, financial problems, uncertainty, cyberbullying, decreased, broken, covalent peer bonds, loss of socialization skills. I'm going to ask a parent, what's FOMO? All the way, but you're going to make me run for it. All right. That's why I didn't buy a Peloton. Like a lot of people did during COVID. Y'all regret that, don't you? The Peloton? Yeah. I was so happy I didn't buy one because I felt guilty. What is FOMO? Fear of missing out for a prize. Now for a bonus prize, what's JOMO? Joy of missing out. That's when I would see pictures of my family reunion back in Detroit, where everyone looks like, yeah, I'm glad I missed that. Oh, so sorry, I live in California, can't come to the family reunion. How much beer did you guys have? So, yeah, JOMO is when you see something and you're not sad you missed it. Some of the kids told me that one of the things, broke my heart, during confinement was they really had some JOMO about missing middle school. Like, it was a horror show, Don. It's like, I'm so happy I was out of there. I really just want to go to high school, but middle school was not for me. I'm like, okay, cool. Decreased faith in their future. Maladaptive behaviors, including self-harm. It's real. I got to share it with you guys. I hope it's no one in this room or anyone you care about. Family system struggles. Parental, sibling, family conflicts. Now, it's no one in this room, but again, I have an outpatient program for kids. I have a private practice. I work with families. I do a lot of presentations. I'm very lucky. So it's kind of like this. COVID, confinement. So the parents are locked up with the people they hate, meeting each other. The kids are locked up with the people they hate, meeting the parents. The kids hate each other and the siblings, and everyone just started buying edibles. This is what happened. And I hope it wasn't your story, but again, I'm not making this up. I'm boots on the ground every day. And the family systems, parents are used to going to work. We all went to work, and suddenly we are home with those kids. And I would get calls like, okay, Don, like 8:30 in the morning, Don, Johnny is, I think something's wrong. Okay, what's wrong? I feel like a 24-hour vet. What's wrong? He looks sad. He walked upstairs, he didn't say good morning. I'm like, okay. Parents were hypervigilant. It's no one's fault. I had it too. It's like, what do we do? It's like, everyone's locked up together. It was hard. There was all these other things going on. Everyone was impacted by this. So, you got to remember and cut yourself a break, please. This was an unnatural, we were all put in cages together. This is unnatural. So, the kids were feeling it, they were missing out, we were scared, and we also, as parents, a lot of us had our own fears, our own concerns. And we're trying desperately not to share them with our children. And that was hard. And we don't know what to do for them because suddenly on March 17th or whatever day it was of 2020, we're all told, okay, don't leave your houses for 2 years. That was hard. So these things were no one's fault. We just need to know they happened. Missed opportunities. A lot of these kids were robbed. Now, they'll talk about it. I say, you won't know this. You'll talk about this for the rest of your life. It's a talking point. You were the class of 2020. You missed your graduation, but people are going to say down the road, oh my God, what was that like? You'll be at a job interview. They'll say, oh my God, you're the class of 2020. But to the kids, it was real. And I don't know. I kind of remember when I was that age, like, when I was a sophomore, I was going to start on the swim team in freshman, my sophomore year. So I slogged through freshman swimming and swam all those laps knowing sophomore year I was going to get to compete. Kids who had robotics, kids who were cheerleaders, JV, kids who were in plays or they were in the chorus, they were going to move up, and that got taken away. Proms, that Disneyland grad night, there's so many things that the kids, and it was real to them. And it was a once-in-a-lifetime thing. They couldn't see their friends. So a lot of this stuff, being able for the athletes and for some of the arts people to not be able to showcase their work for scholarships they needed. And they got taken away, and that just happened. So down the road will be a talking point, but it really hit them hard. And I think if you're in this room, I'm sure you know at least what I'm talking about. Here's the junior, senior awards. Loss and disruption of school record, all of these things. These were all disrupted. And this is where we are right now. We're coming out of this right now. This is where we are. So this is what we need to know, and this is what we need to help support the kids with. And then over-reliance on screens and devices. So the fall of 2020, the New York Times Learning Network did this really, really cool thing. And they put it out to the kids. And they said, okay, send us any piece of art. It can be an image. It can be an art piece. It can be a photograph. It can be anything, poetry, song. Tell us, what's it like living in the pandemic in the fall of 2020? They've been locked down since March. They didn't think that anything was going to happen. They got 5,500 submissions. Months it took them to look through them. I'm going to just do a couple of things. I want you to remember what the pre-confinement days were. And I want you not to, because there were some really cool things. We discovered, by necessity, a lot of cool things during confinement. Zoom dinners with relatives that live somewhere else. Finally, you get to teach your kids how to fold the laundry because you're going to need it someday. Parents would say to me for years, oh my God, I don't feel like they're prepared for college. I'm not even I'm not a helicopter parent. I'm a snowplow parent. I've done everything for them. Be a drone. Time to pull up and be a drone. You're observing. You can come in hot if there's a problem. But parents, I said, during confinement, take advantage. Teach them about family recipes. Show them things that you always say you never had the time to teach them about your history. Don't forget about those. Bring some of those back. Game nights. Some of the things that really worked, that you liked, bring those back. So that's one of the things. A lot of parents ask me the age. I get this question, what age? The age of when to give a kid a device depends on the kid, developmental stages, family values. None of the kids should really be on devices before they're 4 to 5. I mean, there's a lot of educational things that are great, and we can talk about that, but I get that question probably one of the most, what ages? I'm going to show you some resources at the end of this. You can take a picture of that. They've got everybody's ideas about it. But what I'll tell you is that for kids, before you get them a phone, what about for time? Get them a smartwatch. Try a smartwatch first when they're 6, 7, 8, 9. And the social media platforms are supposed to be 13. My kids went on it when they were 11. They lied. They don't check. But as far as age, you can also get them phones that do not have all the bells and whistles. You can get them phones that are like flip phones when they're first trying to test it out. If you want to find out where they are, you need to know where they are. So you don't have to get them like I did. Okay, sure, just go right from nothing to the iPhone. You can get them in betweens to see if they're responsive. They're going to lose them, they're going to break them. So you can test out a kid and just give them very limited devices in terms of technology. They don't have to have the iPhone 27 when they're 8 years old. And they're going to say, oh, my friends have them. We can talk about that another time. But for you as a parent, I say, don't let them have too much exposure to screen time, because once they see the screens, and we're going to show later, you'll never be able to get them off of it. But maybe start with smartwatch. So this is some strange phenomena. This is what I was talking about before. This is this weird thing. It's real. Like, you feel like your phone is ringing or buzzing in your pocket or even in your pocketbook. You feel it. Like, oh my God, my phone, someone's calling, someone's thinking me. Dopamine, you don't even know because someone's thinking me. And then you reach, it's like, hello, no one called me. But you felt it. You felt your purse buzzing. It's a real thing. We don't know why. They cannot, I'm fascinated by this because it's happened to me. They can't figure it out yet. They don't know why. It's like, are we trying to conjure someone to think about us? So I'm just having a hallucination that my phone is ringing? We don't know. This is a big part of my work. It's a lot of my research right now. It's real. It's a phenomenon. And I'm going to show you some examples of it. It means the caregiver or parent is in the room physically, but they're not there. And the message to the kid, as we'll see, is dangerous. It's my research right now. I really am looking at this because during COVID, when we were all working from home, it became even more accelerated, especially for the kids in a developmental stage of attachment where they're bonding. It's also with friends. We're in absent presence. These devices were there, but we're not there. Texting is, I do a whole group on this too. I do a lot of groups about texting because kids do not talk on the phone. They text. And I have a rule in my house and with my kids and my people. Well, I'll go back and forth 3 times. After 3 times, I'm calling. Now, invariably, I'm not going to lie, what happens is that I'll be texting with one of my kids or both my kids, and we'll go back and forth. They know the 3 rule. They'll do the 3 rule, and so I'm like, we're done. I'll call them. And they don't pick up. I text them like, you are texting me right now, and your voicemail is full, hashtag always is. Okay, that's fine. You want to keep texting? Let me try to figure out how to text your allowance to you. Oh, they call me right back. All right, we're moving on, 5, 4, 3. But the real thing is with texting, without verbal cues, without facial cues. But if your kid is on their device all the time, parents just know, maybe they're just communicating. You've got to give them the leave of that it could be that they're just using that to communicate because they do not talk on the phone. So when you look at it and you say, my kid's on the phone, They need a standard deviation, and maybe that's how they're just DMing their friends or slipping into someone else's DM they shouldn't be, I don't know. But just know that's how they communicate. But without communication, things, even with adults, can get really misconstrued. No tone, no face, no expression. Gaming. I'm going to just say this about gamers. Parents, don't be afraid of them. Your kids are going to roll their eyes. What is this game? Look it up. You hear your kids talking about games. Find out what it is, because I've got parents who are giving their kids World of Warcraft at 7. I'm wondering why they're having nightmares. And they're playing with 21-year-olds and 25-year-olds. Know the games. I don't think that you would say to if your kid said to you, hi, okay, so I'm 9. Hi, or I'm 15. I'm going to go play in like the tunnels under the city, and I'm meeting some people there. I don't really know who they are, but we're gonna go and we're gonna hang out. I don't know when I'll be back, but I'll see you. And I don't think you're gonna let them do that. Like, we had to know play dates, we had to know parents were home. So I'm gonna tell you that when you think your parents get tricked. You think because your kid's there, they're safe. Just don't be tricked when your kid is there sitting on their device that they're there. You don't know who they're playing with. You know what they're doing. There's a lot of predators out there. They're looking. I'm just saying, this is just like, what is real play? Duh. This is why we don't give the 2-year-old the device. We'll never get this from them again. So, real play, creativity, curiosity, all of this drives imagination, blah, blah. Real play like we used to do. Take it or leave it. I've developed this over 14 years. I've heard horror stories of parents telling me all over the world, my kid was wonderful, and then I tried to go and get the game away from them, and they bit me. True story, more than once. Do not try to engage with a gamer while they're in the middle of a game run. It's like pulling a soldier out of Vietnam in the jungle saying, sit down to dinner and do your homework. All they got running through their head is cortisol, dopamine, and adrenaline. They are not with you. And it's fine because they've been playing for 3 days or 12 hours with their friends, or they're in a D&D campaign that is just making them insane. Do not try to engage them if they're in it. Set the rules they agree to that are reasonable before they start gaming. Agree on them. I don't care what you guys decide to do. Decide about gaming or any of the advice, but especially gaming. Decide before they start gaming. Agree to it. If they deviate, if you want to go give them a 10-minute warning, that's fine. After that, walk away, because what's going to happen is your gamer's not going to care. They're going to lose their minds. There's going to be a fight. You're going to carry it downstairs and then bring the whole family into it. You're going to be aggravated all night. They're up just like in the middle of a super great campaign, and you're downstairs yelling and screaming, get everyone activated, dinner is ruined, and then you go to bed aggravated. Don't do it. Give them the warning. The consequence for deviation from what they agreed to for however many hours they have is in play, and if they deviate, give them a warning, walk away, close the door, lock it, throw some meat in there maybe, and then come back the next day and say, look, this is what we're at. Do not, please. Parents tell me this all the time. I've heard CPS gets called, police get called. Well, what are you doing? You're going and they're busy. Don't do it, my suggestion. Agree before. That's the thing. Do not engage. Walk away. Do not bring this all back into the rest of the house and upset the whole family. I'm just going to put these slides up. It's real. Whoops. It's real. I have to include it. It's real. It got worse during the pandemic. I tell therapists when I train them, and I tell parents, if there's something wrong with your kid or something is really strange and you can't identify something biological or something, or you're a therapist and something's wrong, your kid's not talking, please do not underestimate and investigate or rule out the fact that there may be some of this going on. And you need to know about it as parents, because if there's something off with your kid, just at least rule it out. Gently try to talk to them or have them talk to somebody, because it happens. It can be real subtle. Here's the types that we've identified. I told you, my daughter was just left out of a picture. Everyone else, BFFs, she thought she was in that crew. It's mean. And it affects the kids. And they're sitting there in the dark and they get ambushed by it. And they're sitting alone in their room, and suddenly they see a post, or they see something, or something happens, or someone trolls them, or someone happy slaps them, or someone cyber stalks them, or someone harasses them, or someone subtweets them, or someone, or someone doesn't respond nicely to the selfie they put up that they took 120 of and then chose that one and no one responded. It's a lot. Just know it. It's real. It's a new thing. We don't even understand it. We didn't even know what was going on because, we were busy running through hallways in middle school. Some of us. Okay, moving on. And I always like to give solutions. If you or someone you know or a friend of yours, there's what you do. So what I say that I personally believe is because whether it's true or not, the assumption is that everyone saw it online. Adults do it too. Adults do it too. Also, parents, I'm just going to tell you, this is for you, bro. Please do not post pictures of your children without getting their permission. I'm just adding this in now because you might think it's super cute to show a picture of them when they ask your kids, especially if they're older. Not if they're younger, you do what you want, I guess. But when they're older, kids ask me, tell me themselves, I'm like, oh my God, my mom is embarrassing. She posted these pictures of me. Just ask your kids, and do not post pictures of your friends' kids without asking them. I've had those problems too, where someone says, I really know what to do. Susie posted a picture of her family with my kids. But ask your kids. And ask your kids, if you're on their social and they let you and you're on their Insta, you're not on their Friendster, that's the fake one, ask them, do you care? Like, my kids will let me look at their stuff, but I am not allowed to comment, like, or even show that I did it. One time I accidentally hit love, my daughter was like, Dad! So if your kids let you even look at their stuff, just ask them how they feel about, responding, because usually they don't want you to, and they will cancel that account and open a new one if you even put anything. So talk to your kids about it. Respect them with their social. So the first thing is discuss your family values. For good digital citizenship, parents ask me, I say, well, talk to your kids about your family values. Whatever they are in real life, they should be the same online. There's something called the online disinhibition effect. Online disinhibition effect, lots of words. What it means is that we are more likely to do things, say things, and act in ways behind the safety of a screen that we would never do in real life. Now, a lot of this is good. People can explore support systems, whether it's addiction, whether it's sexuality, whatever it is. If it's grief, loss, you wouldn't feel comfortable walking in a room. You have to be careful about those because, again, they can be a little shady, but the online disinhibition effect means we will, even though there's some good ways, good things that it can be, it also allows for a lot of nonsense to go on. So, discuss your family values. Whatever, mine and my home are, however we expect you, and our family values are that you will behave in person, in real life, IRL. That's our expectation of how you behave online. And it can be whatever it is. You have to have these discussions. You own the technology. You pay for the technology. You will be paying for their cell phone plan for the rest of their lives, parents. Sorry, spoiler alert. They're never getting off your cell phone plan. And as I told someone in the room earlier, you will also be paying for their streaming services. I'm sorry. They will never get off your streaming services. You will be paying for their phones and their streaming services probably forever. So remember, you're in control. It's a privilege, even though it's a right that they have them, and we want to stay connected. But is everyone done? I was vamping, moving on. Oh, don't put them on the table. Like we saw, if the device is on the table, it's on the table. And what it means, whether you're the friend or your family, if that device is on that table, my opinion is, it means you're cool, but if a better bid comes along, I'm taking it. It's kind of like the digital version of when you're at a party and someone's hugging you and talking to you and looking over your shoulder. So if you put a device on the table, what the message you're sending to the person is, I'm interested in you, but if someone calls who's better, I get a better bid, I'm taking it. Put it away, stow it, be in present presence, please. All right, here's just a cheat sheet. Why are you or they engaging? What are you or they doing on the device? Because we're just as bad. I have kids saying, my parents say I'm on the device all the time. My parents say I'm on the device all the time. They're on it. So why are you engaging? What are they doing? Where? Are they up in their bedroom? Are you hiding away from your family on your device? That's okay if you're taking a break. When? 3 o'clock in the morning? Just ask these questions. You don't have to tell anyone. It's just a cheat sheet that I use. I say, okay, here's some file. Just go through it. Is anything about this unhealthy? Great. Then look at it. Change it or not. I don't got to live your life. Investigate. What are they doing? Who are they with? Educate them. Rules, values, how things work, cyberbullying, catfishing, all of this. Educate them. What devices can do, how people can be, whatever. Participate in it. Ask them. Teach me. Show me. Show me how this works. I'm a digital immigrant. Why is my PowerPoint reverting back to the old slides? Help me. Ask your kids for help. They get it. It's like easy for them. Communicate with them. Talk to them about it. Moderate their behavior. Blend in real life stuff, covalent bonds with real people IRL, and also online stuff. There's nothing wrong with being connected online. I love being able to see my friends and family back east. Appreciate them. Appreciate their efforts. Appreciate when they want to talk to you about it. Just some things. Validate. Validate when they go and do things and help with the chores and when they make gains in their social media or their gaming or their online or they do something nice. Validate good behavior. Why not? Just like you would in real life. Validate when they get the top score in a game. Why not? And now this makes more sense. Do you contemplate the effect of posts? What are you doing? What do you need? What do you need? Do you edit them? What's your real motive? What do you need? Why do you share it to the world or not? Technology will sometimes fail you. Just part of it, right? Done it a trip. Just scroll with it. We overstand. It's happened to all of us. And then, I love Rumi, and I think this really applies to online engagement and posting. It wasn't meant for that. He wrote it a long time ago. Before you speak, or before you post, let your content pass through 3 gates. Is it true? Is it necessary? Is it kind? We have an opportunity to be connected globally now and learn about other cultures and other people. Be kind online. Learn about people. Connect with people in other places. Be friends online. Never before have we had so much connectability. It's become a global marketplace, and a bunch of things where just nonsense is shared and people get hurt. Let's try to use it for a different way. Let's try to connect and use this internet and the ability to globally connect with people through social media to band together and be human again. We just all came off of a horrible, horrible experience. It affected the entire globe. That pandemic had no prejudice. Why should we? My friend Dr. Elena, she told me I can use this picture. I have verbal consent and written consent. She comes to a lot of my presentations. Dr. Elena was at an event, and her daughter, that's her daughter, waiting for dinner, which never happened because Elena was working. And I showed her this picture, and you can see from the daughter's face, this is not the first time she's becoming newer to this. And Dr. Elena saw this picture, said, "Oh my gosh, Don, please, I'm begging you, please show this picture in every presentation. You have my permission. This changed my life. I needed to see this. This is terrible." And I didn't even realize it because she owns her own business and she works all the time, and she's a single mother of this child. And so she told me, and I put in every presentation. A lot of times when she'll be there, she'll be like, "That's me. Needed to see it." That's Dr. Elena, my friend. The last slide I do is I always like to show you what's coming. And it's interesting, over the last 12 or 10 years that I've been doing presentations, I look to see how many of them came to fruition. Google Wave was an epic fail. There were some things that didn't happen, but most of them did. So here's some things I'm just showing you. Here's what's to come. So these are some things to look for that are for the next year or so that are coming. This is super cool. This is so they're trying to use virtual sports to show how they can make athletes' uniforms safer. That's a cool thing. Technology is great. These are some great resources. These aren't the only ones. These are the ones that I really like. There's so much more information about everything I talked about. These are, I believe in all of these. There's a lot of false prophets and charlatans out there. This stuff is new. Very few of us, not because of anything but luck of the draw, we've been studying a while. But these are some really good resources, and I think it's important that you have these. Thank you all.